Yeah, it was a body blow for Manchester City. Mind you, I would say that John in Bristol has just reminded me, don't forget that Saudi beat Argentina in the World Cup, and they did, didn't they, 2022?
I remember
I think
that.
it was the opening game,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Messi scored a penalty for
That's
Argentina.
correct.
But
That is
Saudi
correct.
came back and won 2-1,
Yeah.
which was
Incredible
a
result.
remarkable result as well. But so was this. Let's get more on that shock defeat and cross over to talkSPORT's Manchester correspondent, Jamie Jackson. Morning, Jamie.
Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Well, what did you make of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've just come back from the stadium. It's about a 10-minute walk from my hotel. And yeah, I mean, the shock of the Club World Cup, the shock of the sort of 32-team Club World Cup, is it? This is the first one. I've got to say, it's the old sort of issues, if you like, for City. They defend with this high line. And yeah, on the one hand, that's what they've always done. And, when they've been really successful, the odd teams turned them over, but, not enough to sort of stop them dominating. But in Ruben Dias in particular, they've got a defender there who's just a bit too slow and get caught out. And it wasn't just his fault tonight, but basically, and Guardiola said this afterwards, they weren't clinical enough. This is Manchester City in the first half particularly. Haaland, Doku, Gvardiol, other players could have put them out of sight, really. So he's correcting that match, and that's kind of why they put Juventus to the sword. In their previous game, I think it's 5-2, because they took the chances. They didn't tonight. So that's on the attacking way, and then they're defending, as I say, caught on the break, and it was very easy for them to get through Al Hilal. Now, don't get me wrong, Al Hilal are a top team, the Saudi Arabia's best club side historically, number of titles, all the rest of it. But one or two passes and they're in. It wasn't sort of. It's a sort of like a bit too simple, really, too often. And so Guardiola's got a bit of a head scratching to do to sort of sort this out. Afterwards, just been in the press conference with him, he was sort of his usual measured self, but very disappointed because, he wants to win every tournament. But I have to say, whoever wins a game of football usually deserves to. That's my kind of sort of rule. Whatever's gone on before is a sort of part of the hurly-burly, and then the end score is, the right result. More times than often. And so what I'm saying is I think Al Hilal deserved it in the end.
I don't think you're wrong, Jamie. I mean, I've watched the highlights and I've watched the goals, and I think you're right to flag up defensively, because looking at it, they still scored 3 goals, City. You'd think normal circumstances that should be enough to win a game of football. But was it the second goal, I think you mentioned straight through, was it Leonardo? It's just a simple ball over the top, and he's actually through with the goalkeeper to beat, which he does. But on top of that, I don't think the goalkeeper looked clever. There was crosses, they were losing so many headers with crosses into the box. I think defensively would be his biggest problem, and you're right, it's given him a little bit of a headache, hasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're completely right. Defensively, they are frail, and they were last season. And it's interesting this, because I know De Bruyne has left the club and he's sort of basically injured last season, or wasn't completely fit. But if you look back at Manchester City, particularly under Pep Guardiola, De Bruyne has always been there to sort of not rescue them, but kind of. So what I'm getting at in this game, when they were behind, I don't understand as sort of normal time sort of approach, the end of it, where he didn't bring Phil Foden on. It only took Rodri, who, by the way, he said afterwards, Pep Guardiola, he's suffered an injury setback, Rodri, because he was a substitute himself. He came on sort of 52nd minute, I think it was, and he had to come off the 100th minute for Phil Foden. But Phil Foden, for me, should have come on early. He's got a heck of a goal to equalise in extra time. It was a sort of a lob through from Cherky, and Foden watches it all the way. And I don't know if you've seen it, but the volley, there's only one angle or one place he can put it, and he puts it there. It was an unbelievable finish from Phil Foden. And he's sort of been, kind of their best attacking player. So I don't know whether he was carrying an injury, but, for him not to come on till minute 100 was a bit of a puzzle, really. So, yeah, I mean, they can be got at too easy. And this was the problem last season, essentially. Yes. They just too often. As I say, very rare before that. I can remember one game, maybe Ivan Toney, that's how far back it was for Brentford. Before the World Cup, he scored a couple of goals and he got turned over this way. But it's so rare, or it was so rare. Now it's become the way to beat them. So, yeah, as we're sort of discussing, I think he has to solve this, really. The front of the team, it's a Pep Guardiola team, is always going to be good. Haaland, I've got to say, he scored today. Yeah. Nice finish, but he looks a little bit not quite off it, but I get it. It's been a long season. I don't know what you call this. Is it pre-season? Is it pre-season? Is it post-season? But there's he scored a couple. But I think all in all, they don't want to go out, but I think it's been a useful exercise. You know, they bedded in 2 or 3 of the new signings. Cherky looks a good signing.
Yeah.
But again, why was he not introduced a bit earlier? I can't remember exactly what minute he came on, but it was towards the end of the sort of normal time, maybe the sort of 75th or something. He's a player. You know, I think Guardiola maybe selected this team thinking, yeah, okay, we're not disrespecting Al Hilal, but get through this and we'll play the quarterfinals with maybe a stronger team. It's kind of backfired.
Yeah. I mean, the news can't be any worse, can it? If Rodri's had a setback.
Jamie, what about Rodri? I mean, you say it's a setback. A setback would maybe describe to me that it's the same injury. You know, I'm sitting there hoping that it might have been. I know we don't know. I'm sitting there hoping it might be something else that he's come off with. But if it was the same injury, that's a problem. Clearly.
Just to clarify, setback is my word, but he did say he had a problem, or he felt he had a problem and had to come off. So I'm calling it a setback, as in it's only his 5th appearance back from the knee injury. Listen, it may well be that, Ali. You know, we just don't know. But the point is, he was forced off, having been a substitute himself. So, you know, I don't think it's great at all. Hopefully for him and City, you know, it's a knock, etc. But the fact that he had to come off, especially after I think he certainly started the game against Juventus and looked good. The whole team did. You know, it's not a great sort of eventuality because, again, one of the massive issues he had last season, Guardiola, is he could not solve Rodri being out. I understand, you know, Ballon d'Or winner, all the rest of it, but you have to be able to, you can't rely on, you know, one player. We all know that. And that's kind of what happened last season with De Bruyne also being, injury hammered and not quite the player he has been. So, you know, these are issues. But what I would say is I've observed City out here all through the tournament. Before the tournament started, I was at the training camp, and Guardiola is up for it. The players are upbeat. And this is one of the things he did make a point of saying afterwards, just now, just a couple of hours ago, whenever it was, saying that it's been a good training camp. The players are happy. He seems happy. You know, despite this, listen, he's not happy about going out, but I'm saying generally, with how this has gone, the squad, the feeling, he does seem happy and content. And so, you know, I think overall, they are going in the right direction.
Jamie, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Jamie, mate.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.